The first piece of strappings in the van.
So, would you consider yourself a strapping young man?
We are Shelby and Woody. We met in 2015 and immediately discovered our shared passion for travel and adventure. We've cruised the Bahamas, rode a train through Alaska, and even got engaged in Hawaii. After stumbling upon a van life video on YouTube, we loved the idea but considered it a pipe dream.
4x4 Sprinter van, and unfortunately it's sold.
Well, as you can see, with a lot of hard work and perseverance, that pipe dream is becoming a reality.
What came today?
Please consider subscribing so you can follow along on our journey while we build out a van, travel the world, and Encompass Adventure.
Good afternoon, everybody. I feel like we always get super late starts to the day. Actually, we didn't get a late start to the day, just kind of a late start to the van stuff because we're at a mixed project today. What I mean is we are doing kind of a few different things. We're going to try to start framing the van with fur stripping or cladding or strapping or whatever you want to call it. And then we also got Havelock wool to stuff in all the cavities, so we're going to maybe even try insulating the van as well. Okay, we could not work under the circumstances anymore, apparently. Right, babe?
Sick of this crap.
No, we just had to go get some shiny new toys to play with.
They're dangerous tools.
They're dangerous tools. But so far, we've been doing all of our build with a jigsaw and a circular saw. We didn't have anything else to work with. We were even using a handsaw at certain points. So we bit the bullet. We did get a discount from Harbor Freight. We had a coupon in the mail, but we bit the bullet and got some shiny new things.
Miter saw.
First up,
Comes forward.
got a fancy miter saw.
Slide back. 10-inch. Nothing super special, but perfect for what we need.
And it has a laser, which is cool.
This one actually does not have a laser. That
Scratch
one's
that.
like $40 more, and I was like, eh.
This one doesn't have a laser, but Woody thought it was really awesome because he made this cut. Look at that. Look at that.
That's thin.
With that saw. And it's straight.
Next up, tiny little pancake air compressor. Should suit our needs for this 16 gauge finish nail gun.
It's upside down.
You can fix that in the video editing, right?
No.
Okay. So that's good. That's what we're going to use for all of our walls to nail that to the burring, stripping, whatever you call it. Last but certainly not least, haven't put it together yet. That's how new it is. It's nice 10-inch table saw. Again, low end, nothing special, but perfect for our needs. I'm not a professional woodworker. I don't need a $400 saw.
What did you just find out?
But the table saw stand is sold separately. And yes, it says it right on the box, but they clearly lead you to believe in this image and this image.
Right, why?
I mean, if you have a table that you can mount it to, it's fine.
Do you?
Yeah, it does. They're crap, but they'll do. The first piece of strappings in the van.
So, would you consider yourself a strapping young man?
Wow, you've been waiting for that one. That's nice. You framed me.
Oh. If Woody gets to make his dad jokes, then so do I.
Hey, babe.
Yep.
How do you know when a joke is a dad joke?
How?
The punchline is apparent. Apparent?
Is that a knee slapper?
Oh, damn, that's good.
All right. Anyway, while Woody is cutting the wood and screwing it into the van walls, I am going to insulate. We got Havelock wool. This is pricey, but I think it's well worth it. It's mold resistant, fire resistant, very, very highly rated. So I'm going to be shoving all of that into all of these nooks, crannies, cracks, crevices, cavities, ribs, and slots. Any other name you can think of for a space in the van? That's where I'll be putting the Havelock wool insulation. So I just opened up the Havelock wool, and there's this place called Wheeler Farm here in Utah. It's like a historic farm where you can go see, and sorry if the wind from outside is making the camera sound awful, but there's a farm and they've got sheep and goats and things, and they do fun festivities. And when I opened it, I was like, it smells like Wheeler Farm. It smells like sheep. It's not a bad smell, but that was my first impression. That's how you know it's natural. It's nice. Also, it's pretty soft. It's kind of cool. I'm excited to work with it. Overall, my first impressions are pretty good. So what I'm doing right now is I cut the Havelock wool, which comes in those big vats, into these thin strips, and I'm shoving it in this long narrow cavity because Woody had put strapping up here and I forgot to insulate it, and the only way I can get in here is to shove it in here, and I found it easier to do a thinner piece than the cavity is, so I can put it in, and then once it's in I can just kind of shove it to the end, and then I'll get another piece and do the same thing. Versus if you did a piece that was too thick, then it would get caught and you wouldn't be able to push it down, if that makes sense.
And the strapping she's talking about was just like this one. You can see that it's covering those holes. And we've got it running all the way to the front of the van. I'm going to do another one at the top, across the center, right under that window, and then across that other beam as well. And it'll kind of end up looking like this side. You can see that top one.
We got the insulation done in here, shoved in this long strip, and now Woody's putting this piece of wood back up.
But I messed up.
Why'd you mess up?
Well, you see, I think I just did that hole a little too hard. So I gotta retap a different hole.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
Nice. First day of framing or strapping, whatever you want to call it, is done, including the insulation. There's a lot more framing done on this side. This is where our kitchen's going. And it doesn't look like I did a lot of insulation, but behind here the whole strip is done, and here the whole strip is done, and then all the way along here and down there, and then you can see these big pieces. And honestly, it's just kind of tedious and it hurts my hands. I don't know if you can see, they're all scraped up, cuts, skin's peeling off. Tomorrow's not going to be fun.
And to be fair, we did spend about 2 hours getting tools and we started pretty late, so.
But those tools are well worth it, right babe?
Yeah, they made the job a lot easier so far. I think they'll make the rest of it great.
So I guess we'll just pick this up tomorrow. Today is day 2 of framing out the van and putting insulation in. As you can see, Woody has already been hard at work today. He got a head start. I was inside on the computer posting stuff for our anniversary, which is today. Today's our 1-year wedding anniversary.
Yay!
And we're working on our van and we couldn't be happier about it. So let's get at it.
Good way to spend the day.
So some of these panels, we don't really have a way to hold it in. We did use some fishing line, which was nice, but it was still kind of sagging a little bit at the top. So what Woody's doing is stapling some of the wool into the framing up into it. And it's holding it pretty well. And that's just to hold it at least until we can get the walls on. So there's not like a gap. But it's coming along. Well, that's the end of day 2. I think we got a lot done. Let me show you. So we got this whole wall basically done. Insulated and strapped. And then we got most of this wall framed and most of it insulated. It doesn't look like a lot, but shoving your hands in these small little cavities underneath here to fill these whole strips, and then also in here and in here, takes forever. So we still have a little bit around the windows, and then these pieces, and then the whole ceiling, including the ribs, we have to put it inside here. And then that panel. But Woody also cut out a frame for the fan and started cutting the strapping for the ceiling. We learned a really cool trick to do that, and then he also framed out the windows, all that stuff. So right there. So that's where we're gonna end day 2. We will pick this up tomorrow.
All right, so I've got these ceiling frame pieces basically built out, or at least prepped. And I had this idea, or got this idea from Eamon and Beck, where I cut a little notch into these 1x2s, and then when you put them up, you can flex it or bow it so that it kind of conforms to the ceiling bow, and then self-tapping screws to put it in. Got 2 done so far. The rest are prepped, and we're good to go.
So Woody got a lot of the framing done in the van, and I got most of the wool insulation done, but we didn't have enough to do the ceilings, so we ordered more, and it should be here in a couple days. But while we're waiting for that, we're going to start on the walls, and that's going to be a different video. But let us show you what we've done so far.
So you can see the framing. It's kind of in some weird spots, but the way that we approached this was framing where we will need to mount something with support. So this beam right here is where our wall siding kind of ends. So we want it to be able to nail there, and then the paneling that'll go behind the kitchen, which is a piece of sheet wood, will go there. I framed the frame of the window just to give it a little extra support. Used a Craig jig to get that little hole there, that nice groove. And then we just nailed one little trim nail on each wall of the frame. Connected really great, and it's very stable and secure, not going anywhere. We will do the same thing to this window here. We're just finishing up the treatment on the wood so that it doesn't rot or anything like that.
Good morning! Today is the day that hopefully we finish the insulation. I think, did we do all the framing, babe?
Yes.
All the framing's finished. Babe's right there.
Hi.
I don't know if you guys could tell, but we put a tarp up there. It's camouflage, so I didn't think you could see it.
I thought someone stole our van.
We put a tarp up there so we could keep the doors open because our van doesn't fit in our garage and it's raining. It sounds really pretty. This storm rolled in. It's actually been storming for the last couple days. And obviously we don't want it to get wet in here, but we're determined to finish the insulation with the rain. A whiny but cute dog. Say hi, Drogo.
Hi, Drogo.
And stuffing it into super tight spaces. So we're inside working on the van while it's raining, and insulation is being stuffed into the ribs. And there's a nice treat outside. It's a double rainbow. Pretty. Well, it stopped raining for now, but the sky is beautiful. It looks like pink and orange and blue cotton candy. I don't even think the camera does it justice. Anyway, back to work. It looks like we have all of the insulation done in the van on the walls, except for this one tiny spot right here that needs to be done. So what we've been doing is working on the ceiling, and we're shoving insulation in all of these ribs, which was kind of difficult at first, but I think we've come up with a system that gets the job done. We did all 4 of those ones back there. 5. And I thought that we would need to take this strapping off, but Woody just backed out the screws a little bit, so when you're running it through, it doesn't get caught on the screws in there. So what Woody is doing is...
Excuse me, sorry. So I have this wire, not sure what gauge it is, but it's wire I had in the garage. And I fed it through the rib so that it's hanging out on each side. I've then folded this piece of insulation in half and stuck it through and kind of tied it around here, making sure that the pointy end of the wire is back so that it's not facing there and getting caught on something.
When he's pulling it through the rib. And this is 5 inches of insulation, and he's just folding it in half like that, so it fits.
And it's a little tough to get started,
rib.
But once you get it started, this might be too thick. Oh, there we go. Pull it through.
So he's basically just fishing it through.
Yeah. All right, now, so it started, it's about 3 or 4 inches in. It's easier to come over and do one end first, where you just kind of shove a bunch in here so that it gets packed back in here.
And with this Havelock wool, you don't want it too compact. You want to give it a little bit of room to breathe. Kind of like the stuffing of a stuffed animal.
And then pull it through nice and slow. You can see it pulling in.
And you can see it start to work its way down, and then we'll just do this until it goes all the way down the rib. And again, be slow with it, don't force it. It can get caught on parts of the metal, or if you have screws up there, it can get caught and tear it. It tears kind of like cotton candy.
I would definitely recommend doing it before you put the strapping on.
Yeah.
If you can, but we had already kind of got going and jumped a little bit ahead. So.
But we're making it work. We only have 1, 2, 3 left. So learn from our mistakes, because this piece was not 5 inches, it was about 6 inches, and it made it a bit too tight, and it got caught on some of the screws and it tore right in the middle. So what we've been doing is shoving it into these holes in there, and he's trying to move it over with the wire. It's honestly the best we can do. Once it's in there, you're not going to get that out unless you take the whole rib off of the van. That one worked out way better. Yeah. The thickness of the insulation matters, because if it's too bunched up in there, it's hard to pull and it just tears. And then again, you can just shove more up in these little grooves and you're good to go. Now it's time to put the ceiling panels in of the insulation in between the 2 ribs in each section. And we saw this on YouTube University in a YouTube video. It kind of looks like a mess right now, but I swear there's a method to the madness. Basically strung it back and forth in between these divots here, these ribs, and what we're going to do is lay a piece of insulation across and then tighten the string so it sucks it up against the ceiling.
I had to get kind of creative in the front because the placement of the ribs and the framing, it's been a little easier in these back sections. Probably did a little overkill in this one, but
Nah,
the string
us?
was long,
Overkill?
so I went with it. And we're using a nylon based twine because it's mold resistant, mold and mildew resistant, and also rot resistant. So,
and you put a piece of tape on the end to kind of create like a shoelace because it's much easier to weave through those ribs.
some of these are a little tough, but works out. There's no pattern that's best. It's just kind of wherever you can hold it, though. I have been trying to get at least some on both edges at the end so that it holds them in. The middle's going to stay a little better because it's all connected. That's about the only method I've been applying.
We could also staple some of the sides of it to the strapping too, like we did with these pieces.
Which we probably will, just to hold it in place a little better, but not a lot, just a couple.
I feel like we're in a spider web. What have you done in here?
I get to be Spider-Man today.
Babe, you're my Spider-Man every day.
How did I get so lucky?
Ta-da!
And then I've been cutting this end and putting a piece of tape on it as well, just so that it's easier to find and so it doesn't accidentally pull through with the weight of anything.
Yeah, you can see all these ends have tape on them. Good job, babe. Okay, right now we are insulating the ceiling. It's definitely much easier with two people. We crisscross the strings like we showed you earlier, and then we're putting the insulation up and then just kind of strap it down. So as you can see, it takes some messing around with. It's very finicky, but you can just stretch it and push and pull. And then it seems low right now. We got it up on the ceiling as high as we could, but once we get the ceiling on, yep, exactly, it's gonna hold it in there nicely.
That was easy.
Don't be fooled. No, it's not. It's not awful, it's time consuming and tedious.
Last day, hopefully, for insulation. As you can see, the sun's out. It's in the 70s. Yesterday it was in the low 40s, Utah. Today I'm going to put some insulation back behind here, fill in these cavities and get as much of that insulated as possible. And this back strip, once I get that framing on nice and tight. And then we should be done with insulation. Woo! You can see that I've got the insulation shoved in there pretty good. It's not super tight because it does need a little bit of room to breathe, but it's good on that side. Now I need Shelby to come help me because my big hands don't fit back there.
I heard you needed my help.
Yeah, I have fat hands.
So you need me to put this in there.
Yes,
Okay,
in the dark abyss.
I can try that. I can do that. Is that good?
Nope,
Not quite?
nope. Nice try.
There we go. I did it. It was actually pretty easy. Once you get your hand in there, there's actually quite a bit of room because the headliner shelf curves, and so the space between this and the metal part of the van needed to be filled. And then also there's some space above too, on the top, about, I don't know, a couple inches. And so I stuck my hand back in there and shoved more up there. I could put more in, but we wanted to save what's left for the sliding door and the 2 back doors. But we won't be able to do that until we have the wood that's going over it, and that's going to be a different time.
I feel like I'm just stringing our audience along. Oh, that's fun.
Please don't laugh at that. It encourages him.
And it's very stable. So, yeah. Anyway. Babe, I look like a mountain man. I need a shave.